This was taken at the time when we baptized our son.
Patricia Garcia is raising her 3 children without a father. In 2001, her husband, Bienvenido Pina, was working in a Harlem bodega when the police showed up.
I think he was just packing the freezer. He was putting everything inside when they came in, and they put him to the side and they started searching.
Police found about 6 ounces of crack cocaine hidden behind a trap door. Pina and his coworker were arrested and charged. The owners of the bodega were never charged. Court papers show they hired a lawyer to defend Pina. Then they stopped paying.
And the lawyer was all, uncomfortable with going on with the case. He just wanted to get it over with and told him that he had to plead guilty.
Pina tried to switch to a public defender, but the judge refused.
He is innocent. He knew that if he went on trial with this lawyer, that he wasn't going to probably win the case. So he preferred to plead guilty. You go to trial, and if you lose, it's 10 years or more. Minimum is 10 years.
Pina knew that if he pled guilty, he would be sentenced to 3 years. The sentences for possessing or dealing drugs in New York are set by law. They're called mandatory sentences. Governor Rockefeller introduced them in 1973. You could be sentenced to 15 years to life for the possession of 4 ounces of cocaine, an amount small enough to fit in your pocket. In 2004, Governor Pataki reduced the mandatory sentences for drug crimes. Today, activists say that wasn't enough.
If we scrapped the mandatory sentencing laws altogether, I think that would be a great start.
Gabriel Saya works for the Drug Policy Alliance. They fight to reform drug laws and abolish mandatory sentences. Saya says one of the problems with mandatory sentences is they strip judges of their discretion.
So you end up with a very unbalanced situation where the person who has the greatest amount of power to decide the fate of the defendant is their opponent, the prosecutor. It completely distorts the ideas that most Americans tend to have about a fair and equal system of justice.
Today, there are almost 15,000 drug offenders imprisoned in New York. That's about 1/4 of all inmates. Saya says this is too many, but the president of the New York District Attorneys Association says this is evidence of success.
You have some judges that simply would not take a tough stance on drugs. In order to get rid of cases, to dispose of cases, they would give away the cases, in effect, with lenient sentences. That's why you have mandatory minimums to begin with. They were put into place because the judges were not doing their job in terms of handing out appropriately severe sentences for drug dealers.
4 years ago, Pina appealed to reverse his plea from guilty to not guilty. He says his lawyer was working for the bodega owners and not him. Most of these cases are thrown out, but a few weeks ago, the Court of Appeals ruled that his case could go forward. Still, state justice officials say chances of winning are 1 in 100. Kate McCarthy, Columbia Television News.